We're going back to Tim and Magna, who's LDS. Tim, you're on Heart of the Matter.
Hi, Shawn.
Hi, Tim.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You were a priesthood holder, I understand.
Yes.
And you also went on a mission.
Yes, I did.
And I'm really curious, what made you turn and leave the church?
Well, really, probably the best way to answer it is I've answered it over 160 shows that what's led to it. But bottom line is I tried to do what the church suggested to get right with God, and it never worked in my heart. I was always struggling to feel or sense like I had arrived, and I couldn't get there. And so I hated being a hypocrite, and so I couldn't balance between being a hypocrite and pretending like I was okay, because LDS didn't want to hear that you're not okay, and then not being okay. And so what happened was I came to the Lord and I asked him, please give me a new heart. Let me know that I'm approved of you. And the only way that could happen was that he forgave me of my sin through the blood of Jesus Christ and by his grace, and not of anything that I could do. And when I realized that, my eyes opened, I was born again, and I said, my goodness, I'm a new creature. My propensity to sin is going away, and I know I'm forgiven if I die. And so when that happened, then I looked around. 4 years I stayed, looked around at my LDS, and I tried to listen for those clues. Do my LDS brothers and sisters feel the same way? Have they had this experience? Do they talk about this? Are people born again? No. And then I realized there's something wrong. And so I left.
That makes sense to me. The other thing was why do you have a program that disses on LDS?
Well, I understand Mormonism because I was in it for so long, and I understand their teachings. And so when a Latter-day Saint calls and tries to give me teachings that are contrary to the Bible, I also took some time to try to learn the best I could the Bible, and then I'm able to speak their language and tell them how that is off. Additionally, Timothy, I have family that are still in the church. I have hundreds of friends that are still in the church, and none of them have the peace of knowing that if they were to die today, they're going to go into the arms of Jesus. All of them say, well, I hope so, or I'm trying, and they're burdened. And so I want to be able to show how they can be free.
But couldn't you do that without using the LDS? Without throwing that in, couldn't you do that in a different way?
Well, here's the thing, Timothy. A couple things about that. One, I know, and I hate to use that word with LDS, but I know the Lord has led me to do this. The second thing is if I was just to get up and give a biblical talk, and that's not just a thing, that's an important thing.
Right.
But unless I make a comparison, the LDS will sit and they'll say, yeah, we believe that. Yeah, we're all the same. And so what I do is I use what the actual doctrines are compared to what the actual Bible teaches, and that produces in them angst. And they say, I hate this guy. And then they say, well, maybe that's true. And then they say, wow, maybe I'll try that. And that's why we do it this way.
Yeah.
Does that help you?
Well, it kind of does, I think you're a great guy.
I'm not a great guy, Timothy.
I think you're a great guy. I really, that's one thing.
Hey, Timothy, let me ask you a question. You got to ask me 3. I get to ask you a couple.
You got it.
If you step out your door today and a truck hits and kills you, are you going straight to the highest degree of the celestial kingdom?
I believe, yeah.
And by what do you base that belief upon?
Well, I guess the knowledge and the feelings that I have, like you had said, you stated you had these feelings that you needed to do this with your program.
Yeah.
Those same type of feelings that I have in my heart.
Yeah.
Makes me believe that, yes, I will go to heaven.
Okay, so you believe you have these feelings that you're going to. Now, let me ask you this. What's different between your feelings that you have and a Hindu or a Muslim who has the same exact feelings?
You know what? I believe that they are going to go to heaven too.
Well, of course you do, because that's quite convenient. But unfortunately, the LDS Church, which you belong to, says no, no, no. In fact, it says even people who believe in Jesus won't go to the highest degree of the celestial kingdom. They have to embrace all of Mormonism. You see, so this is a perfect model of why we do what we do. because you called in and you have a good heart and you just believe everybody's going to go to heaven, and so you use that as a justification for your beliefs, but unfortunately that is not what your doctrine teaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can we send you our book?
Yes.
Hey, stay on the phone, an operator will come on, get your name and number, and we'll send one out to you.
Well, thanks.
All right, hold on, Timothy. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.